Do you know what the name of this firearm is? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 3, 2, 1. This should be pretty easy. If you guessed the Kriss Vector, well, you'd be wrong, because this is the Fennec 45, a gun that doesn't even technically exist. In Call of Duty, they slightly modify and change the name of every single firearm in order to avoid copyright issues with the original firearm manufacturer. And today, I want to test your firearm knowledge and see if you can guess which of these real-life firearms are influencing these fictional Call of Duty weapons. I'll try to start this pretty easy with firearm number 1. The X13 Auto is a weapon featured in Call of Duty based on what real-life firearm? If you guys don't figure this out, I have no respect for you. I'll give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Because this is based off of the Glock 18. That's pretty cool, huh? If you guys can guess this correctly, you are probably a firearm genius. In Call of Duty, the P890 is a weapon based on what real-life handgun? I will give you a few seconds to guess this. 3, 2, 1. If you guessed the Sig Sauer P220, then you would be correct. For those of you who are not aware, a number of years ago, Activision was sued by the creator of the Humvee for utilizing their vehicle in the game without permission from the official vehicle manufacturer. Now, this lawsuit was eventually thrown out, but fighting off lawsuits like this is expensive. And that's probably why Activision doesn't put real names of the firearms they use in the game anymore. And who can blame them? I wouldn't want to spend money fighting off pointless lawsuits. I would just want to make the coolest game that I could possibly make. Pretty interesting. Okay, I want you to tell me what the name of this firearm is. Now, if you know anything about firearms, I know what you probably think this is, but in Call of Duty, this is called the STB-556. But obviously, this is based on a real firearm, and I want you to tell me what that firearm is. I will give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you figure it out? Well, if you guessed the Steyr AUG A3, you would be correct. Now, of all of the firearms currently in today's military service, I would say that the AUG A3 is one of the most space-age looking things that any of us have ever seen. And one cool feature about this particular firearm is that you can actually change the ejection port depending on whether you're firing left or right-handed, which I think is pretty cool, huh? Now, if you can guess what this next firearm is with no hints, I will be very impressed with your knowledge of firearms. In Modern Warfare 2, this is known as the Lockman 556, but obviously it is based on a real-life firearm, and I want to know if you can tell me which one. Can you figure it out? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you think of it yet? Because this is the Heckler & Koch HK33. Now, in my humble opinion, the German weapon designer Heckler & Koch is probably one of the coolest and most modern defense manufacturing companies that has ever existed. This company has created some of the most iconic weapons ever conceived, including the MP5, the HK416, and the MP7. Remember that, because I might be quizzing you on those a little later. Alright. Moving on. This particular weapon in Modern Warfare 2 is maybe my favorite. It is one of the coolest guns that you can unlock, but this is based off of a real-life firearm, and I want to see if you know which one. I'll give you a hint. It's Belgian, and there's only so many Belgian defense companies that create anything as cool as this. Have you figured it out yet? I'll give you 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. This is the FN SCAR L, the light variant of a whole series of weapons, including the SCAR H and the SCAR SSR, each of which have inspired their own copycats in Modern Warfare 2. And the acronym SCAR stands for Special Operations Forces Combat Assault Rifle. Quite a mouthful, but probably appropriate for something as awesome as this. This weapon in Call of Duty is probably one of the most iconic firearms ever created, and if you can't guess what real-life firearm this is based off of, I will be disappointed in you. Now, in Call of Duty, this is known as the Lockman Sub, but we all know that that's not what its real name is. So, can you guess what real firearm Call of Duty based this weapon off of? I'll give you 3 seconds. 2, 1. Did you figure it out? Because this is the infamous MP5, also developed by the same manufacturer of the HK33. The Heckler & Koch MP5 is probably one of the most widely used submachine guns in the world, adopted by over 40 nations and numerous military, law enforcement, and intelligence operations. This is one of the best-selling weapons on the market. Now, there are a lot of submachine guns in Call of Duty, but can you guess what real-life firearm this is based on? Now, in Call of Duty, for legal reasons, Activision doesn't use the real firearm names, so they call this the Vel 46, but I think we all know what real firearm this is actually based on, and I want to see if you can guess what it is. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Because this is the MP7. Made by the same creators of the MP5 and the HK33, the MP7 went into production in 2001 and is meant to be a direct competitor to the P90. Now, the reason this submachine gun was developed is because it actually fires larger rounds than the MP5, so it's smaller but packs a greater punch. This is probably one of the most unique weapons in Call of Duty, but it's based on a real firearm. So, can you guess what real firearm this is based on? Now, as we all know, Activision makes up names for its weapons in Call of Duty, so they called this one the Minibak. But we know that this is based off of a real firearm, and I want to know if you can guess which one it is based on. I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Did you get it? Because this is the PP-19 Bison, one of the most unique submachine guns ever developed. This weapon was designed during a collaboration between two very unique people. The son of the engineer who created the AK-47 and the son of the engineer who created the SVD sniper rifle, who gave the Bison a helical feed magazine. If you can guess what real-life firearm this is based on, I will be very impressed. Especially since this isn't the most well-known firearm of all time. In Call of Duty, they call it the RAP-H. But you and I both know that this is based on a real-life firearm that isn't called the RAP-H. And I want to know if you can guess which one it is. I'll give you 2 more seconds. 1, 0. Did you get it? Because this is the HK21. From the same creators of the MP7, the MP5, and the HK33, the HK21 is the general-purpose machine gun variant of the G3 battle rifle series. And unlike the HK33, the HK21 fires a much larger round, the 7.62 NATO. This is probably one of the biggest weapons in Call of Duty, and even though Call of Duty doesn't use real names for its firearms, it is still absolutely inspired by a real sniper rifle. Now, this is known as the Signal 50 inside of Call of Duty, but we both know that that's not what its real name in real life is, and I want to know if you can guess which. I'll give you 2 more seconds. 1, 0. This is the GM6 Lynx, probably one of the coolest and most unique 50 caliber anti-material rifles on the market. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. If you like videos like this, make sure you subscribe, and if you have any suggestions for other weapons that I should cover on this channel, tell me in the comments. Besides that, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.